Hey, and good afternoon, everyone. From where I sit, I'm your host, Dr. C. Welcome back for another broadcast. This one, we are going to continue our series of enemies of democracy. And because everything is so urgent these days, we are going to get straight to it. Of course, as usual, we wanted to review all of these men who happen to be enemies of democracy. And by the way, we'll give you updates in terms of what is happening in terms of what's happening with our present form of government. And the reason why I want to say present form of government, because guess what? The government's changing. I mean, they are committing a full scale undercover coup right before our very eyes. And the men that we already covered are Curtis Yarvin, that's this scary clown right here. Russell Vogt, which, by the way, was confirmed by the Senate to be the managing director of the Office of Management and Budget. Yes, they gave it to him. Unfortunately, the Senate has laid down their power of advise and consent, and they're just going through the motions and consenting to all of Trump's all of his nominations for his cabinet. And yes, Russell Vogt did get in. So unfortunately, he's going to use whatever power he has to get rid of the Impoundment Control Act. Um, we got work to do. The American people got work to do. Okay. So you got Russell Vogt. You got Peter Thiel right here. I think we discussed him. He is one of the PayPal Nazis. We'll get into that just a little bit more. Here is Pete Hegseth. And the reason why I keep laughing at Pete Hegseth is because he really is a complete and total clown that is running our Department of Defense. He's a joke, y'all. This man's a joke. Stephen Miller, we already know about him. We reported on him a couple of weeks ago, who we have not gotten to as of yet. Of course, we haven't gotten to Pete Hegseth. We're going to talk about him today. And we are going to talk about David Sachs today. We're going to talk about these two this afternoon. And then we'll get to Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos a little bit later. And yes, I did put them on this list. We'll add more going forward. But I put Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos on this list is because I find them to be a little bit reluctant enemies of democracy. And I'll explain to you why. All you got to do is look at Mark Zuckerberg's face. He's under a lot of pressure. Jeff Bezos, on the other hand, I don't think he's under a lot of pressure, and I think of him as being a reluctant member of being an enemy of democracy on this list, and we'll explain a little bit as to the reason why we think he might be a little bit reluctant. And really, to be quite honest with you, Jeff Bezos um, has everything, and when I do say everything, I do mean everything going for him. He could basically just sit on the sidelines and let things happen, and it just come out on whatever side he wants to be on. And the reason why is because of the his platform, that's Amazon, and what Amazon does. We'll get into Amazon a little bit later in one of our other podcasts. So again, we'll go over what each one of these clowns are up to. We already know about Curtis Yarvin. He's the guy that everybody that is in the Trump administration, he's the guy that they always go back to as to the reason why he believes that democracy is dead and it has outlived its usefulness. He absolutely wants a monarchy style after a Silicon Valley tech startup. This is what he is advocating, and all of the rest of them that we've already talked about are doing the exact same thing. And yes, Curtis Yarvin owns Vice President J.D. Vance. What a piece of crap. JD Vance, we'll talk about him as well. Russell Vogt, we already talked about him. He got confirmed. He is the managing director of the Office of Management and Budget. That's bad. This is bad news, y'all. Russell Vogt is bad news. We are going to continue to talk about him. And by the way, because he is the managing director of the Office of Management and Budget, he could basically say whatever he wants in terms of what the federal government is going to spend money or not spend money on. And by the way, what they are going to do or what they are trying to do is get rid of spending for, I'm going to name some departments out of here that are going to make you mad, but they want to get rid of Medicaid, Medicare. They want to get rid of SNAP, or better known as food stamps. And the coup de grace, the one thing that they really want to get rid of more than anything else, is Social Security. That is their crown jewel to stop spending for. And just in case you don't know, they are attacking all of these departments, this money that the federal government spends money on the American people. They are going after these entitlement programs. They like to call them entitlement programs. I don't think they're entitlement programs at all, especially when it comes to Medicare and Social Security. We pay into that through our taxes. It is owed to us as the American people, right? We earned that through our taxes being paid every paycheck to Social Security and Medicare, okay? We earned the right to those programs and those entitlements to look after ourselves and our families, okay? They have no right to stop spending on those, but they are going to do it. And the reason why is so that they can bring forth a $4 trillion tax cut. And by the way, even if they stop spending on all of these programs, it's still not going to pay for their $4 trillion tax cut. We are going to go into a bigger deficit. And by the way, the United States government is never going to be able to pay off its debt of $23 to $26 trillion. They're never going to be able to pay that deficit or that debt off unless they do some major changes. And I'm talking about making sure that people pay their taxes. And when I say people, I'm talking about the wealthy 1% and these extremely powerful and wealthy corporations. These people are not paying their fair share. And that is the reason why we have such a budget deficit and all this debt. Doesn't have anything to do with the common man or woman, right, that is working in this country. We pay our taxes. The ones who are not paying their taxes are these wealthy corporations and the wealthy 1%, which consists of a lot of billionaires, which happen to be on our list of enemies of democracy. Okay? Russell Vogt is one of those enemies. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about Peter Thiel. He is a behind the scenes guy. Yes, he is greedy as hell and racist to his core. He's also from South Africa, born and raised, not born, but raised in South African apartheid. So you kind of get an idea of where his political ideas, if that's what you really want to call them, his political ideas come from. Stephen Miller is just a straight up born right out of the womb asshole. Yes, I said it. He is a straight up asshole. Hates everyone, especially people of color. He is a racist dog. I think he came out of the womb as a racist dog. That's Stephen Miller. And now it brings us to my main man, Pete Hegseth. All you have to do is just take a look at the picture. This man is absolutely grossly unqualified to be the Secretary of Defense. His top rank in the military was major. He was a major in the Army National Guard. The last Secretary of State was a four-star general, had led large armies in brigades and battalions all over the world. This man had so much experience working with all branches of the military that he oozed experience and wisdom about how to defend this nation. Pete Hegseth was only a major in the Army National Guard, and he was terrible at that as well. He was a weekend host on Fox News before being tapped to become the Secretary of Defense. Yes, he's a, shall I say, a Fox News celebrity on the weekend, not even in prime time. He was a clown, racist clown on Fox News on the weekend. And his latest trip that him and the vice president were on to Europe talking about defense issues for NATO. Yeah, Pete Hegseth, this loser, was actually drunk while on duty in Europe for all of our European allies to see. He is grossly incompetent and does not belong where he is as Secretary of the Defense. Imagine somebody who only managed to make his way up to major in the Army National Guard, and then his other only claim to fame was he had a weekend show on Fox News. Imagine somebody with that kind of experience trying to manage the largest department in the federal government, and that is the Department of Defense. Okay, that's like naming me, right? With just a DBA, a doctorate in business administration, trying to manage the Department of Defense. I don't know anything about the Department of Defense. I should not even be there. I would not even accept such a nomination. But yet this guy, this drunk, this alcoholic, thinks he can run the Department of Defense. He does not belong there. And for me, this is an insult to all who believe in our military, as I do. I believe in our military and the people who serve there. They are the best of all of us because they are willing to give up their freedom and their lives to serve this country. It is an insult to put a jackass like this in charge of those people who give so many. He puts our defense at considerable risk. And when I say considerable risk, I do mean that. This country is in trouble if we were ever to be attacked by a foe from overseas. And if I was a foe from overseas, this would be the perfect time to do it, because guess what? Under this man's leadership, we will not be able to respond in kind because we have a clown running the Department of Defense and a clown running the executive branch. i.e., Donald Trump and Elon Musk, who happens to be the real president. That's Pete Hegseth. Oh, my man, David Sachs. Okay, now David Sachs is a very wealthy man. He's a billionaire. He's part of the oligarchy. And David Sachs, just like the rest of them, Peter Thiel and Vice President JD piece of crap Vance, all believe in Silicon Valley taking over the federal government, and we having a dictatorship where they are in charge. Just like Elon Musk, Mr. Sachs is from South Africa. Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and David Sachs transformed from a prominent Silicon Valley executive into an unlikely media celebrity for would-be entrepreneurs. That's David Sachs. And David Sachs, Peter Thiel, and Elon Musk all worked and were founders of PayPal. And according to the New Republic, Sachs is using his wealth and online clout to unite conservatives and former leftists in a reactionary movement against liberalism. Liberalism meaning free markets and freedom. They don't believe in any of that. And yes, David Sachs, Peter Thiel, and Elon Musk were coined as being the PayPal Nazis. That's right. PayPal Nazis. That's what they were called. The PayPal Nazis. By the way, if any of you use PayPal, stop using it. It ain't nothing but a Nazi platform that enriches these Nazis like David Sachs, Peter Thiel, and Elon Musk. Stop giving Nazis and white supremacists your money. Stop giving them your money, y'all. These people mean to take over this country and take away all of our freedoms. The freedom to unionize, the freedom of speech. They are more than willing to take all of it away so that they can have supreme power over all of us. And trust me, they won't just stop here. This is David Sachs, one of the PayPal Nazis. So those are our two new enemies of democracy. You can also find us on TikTok, Blue Sky. These are our handles, Dr. C58 in TikTok, at Dr. 050658 at bluesky.social, bluesky.social, excuse me. You can find us there. And by the way, we are going to put this podcast or this broadcast into Podbean as our second podcast on a podcast platform. We are very excited about that. We are very excited about moving this show forward. And of course, we want you to participate in helping us grow. And the way that we're going to do that is for you to like, comment, and subscribe, please. We're still on 10 subscribers, trying to grow to 15. We got, I think, 2 more days to meet our goal and reach 15 subscribers by the end of the month. Please help us grow. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for another From Where I Sit. Once again, please like, comment, and subscribe. And we got one more episode to give you this week. I challenged myself to make sure we did 3 episodes this week. We've done 2. This is our second one, and we got 1 more to go. And we will see you guys on the other side tomorrow. You guys have a great afternoon.